All right, one more thing I need to cover in this section is this configuration class inside the migrations folder. So when you enable migrations, Visual Studio automatically creates this class for you. Let's take a look at it. So we use this class to supply configuration for our migrations. Now the default code, as you see here, has a configuration. So it's disabling automatic migrations. I didn't cover automatic migrations in this course because Microsoft is going to throw it away in the next version of Entity Framework. But in case you're curious, let me quickly explain what it is and what it does. So basically we have two types of migrations. Code first migrations, which is what you learned in this section, and automatic migrations. With code first migrations, as we change our model, we manually execute add migration command in Package Manager console to create a migration. With automatic migrations, we don't have to do this. So we keep changing our model, then we deploy our application, and the first time it's loaded, Entity Framework compares our model with the schema of the database. And if there is a mismatch, it automatically tries to upgrade the database. Now this feature proved to be unsuccessful because it's very risky to do something like that in a production database. That's why we use code first migrations to explicitly create our migrations and run them step by step. So Microsoft is going to throw away these automatic migrations in the next version of Entity Framework. Now this aside, one more case that you may want to supply configuration for your migrations is if you want to move this migrations folder somewhere else. For example, if you want to move it to a different folder, or if you want to move it to a different assembly, then you can come here and in the constructor, look, we've got three properties here: migrations assembly, migrations directory, and migrations namespace. So you set them here. But personally, I think 99.9% of the time, you don't need to do this. So let's move on and take a look at the seed method here. We use this method to initialize our database with some dummy data. Just to clarify, we use this against our development database. So you should not use this method to store reference data in your database. By reference data, I mean like the list of categories, or the list of cities or countries. So the reference data that you want to deploy to the production. If you have reference data, the way to do it is to create an empty migration and use the SQL method to populate your database. Let me show you how it works. So Package Manager console, add migration. Let's say we want to populate categories table. So we get an empty migration because we haven't changed our model. Now I can go here and use the SQL method to populate the categories table. So you got the idea. Now in this project, we don't have categories table, so let's just comment this out and back to the seed method. So let me show you how to use this method to populate your development database. You already see an example of this here. So we start with context, which is the argument passed to this method. And this DB context has a few DB sets. So this example is using the people DB set. And here we can call add or update method to add a record to the database or update an existing record. The first argument to this method is a lambda expression that specifies the properties that should be used to determine if the record should be added or updated. So this example is using the full name of a person object. And based on that, if there is a person with full name Andrew Peters, it would be updated, otherwise it would be added. So let me clean this up and show you an example. Let's say we want to populate the authors and their courses. So context, get authors, add or update. So here we supply a lambda expression. A goes to, I'm going to use author's name to determine if there is an author by a given name or not. And look at the second parameter. It's params author array. So here we can supply one or more author objects. So new author. Let's give it a name. Author 1. And here we can supply his courses. So this courses is a collection, and we can use the object initialization syntax to initialize it. So new course. Let's give it a name. And let's not worry about the other properties. Now, every time we run update database in package manager console, after all pending migrations are run, this seed method is executed. So let's try it. All right, note this message here, running seed method. So now if you look at our database, okay, take a look at the authors table. Look, we've got a new author, author 1. And in the courses table, we have course for author 1 and ID is 15, which is the ID of the new author. And that brings us to the end of this lecture. I hope you enjoyed this lecture and thank you for watching.